The question of the primacy of thought over time, uh, given in the industrial wood alcohol of instancing. First, a word which can be used to mirror and mesonodyme and create the facets on the surface of the instancing. Grammatically in ancient Greek, so I give something that has two sides to it, like a coin, and then the instancing will also have two sides. Ancient Greek didn't have diacritical marks or marks which showed where the stress of the word was and then changed the meaning of the word. It wasn't necessary because ancient Greeks themselves, I suppose, knew it so from belonging to that language so closely that it was just obvious to them what the phrases would be. Somebody had to come in and show where those diacritical marks indicating how the word's pronounced. You have a word like behind, meaning back of, or behind, meaning the buttocks, changed due to the so-called stress in the word. So these people, when they made the diacritical marks of the Greek, probably under that industrial wood alcohol of thought, said these aren't stress marks, they're musical intonation marks, as Greeks are musical people. Platon in the Laws, the earliest education is the taming of the wild beast and to civilizing through the music. So you have these two different worlds where there's a musical intonation and then there's just stressed intonation. Sort of they're just putting different stress on the syllables. They're not musical. Today it's held that these are the same. Okay, so now let's look at the second part. The instancing. So supposing there were some kind of being who, when I would say tree, and then I say instancing a redwood, they would understand me to mean just now, just in this instance, a redwood. So that I'm talking about the line of being in time, a straightforward timeline, where now I could sort of draw a little pencil mark and say, here the instancing happened. And then supposing there's a second class who took it that instancing would mean giving example of, so that I would go to the tree and look at it, and the example is this one here, instancing. So, coda. Remember, we'd already given the instructions. Compared the two sides of the first part about the Greek words to the two sides about the instancing, both in the timeline and has the thing standing there before you has an instance of. This, I would challenge anyone to show how thought is supposed to be drained out of this, so that it's not thought that's, as it were, the most powerful, more powerful than time, since thought is determining, in some sense, what time means. by this juxtaposition of the instancing in the timeline and going to the thing and sort of looking at it, at its details, at the moss growing on it, at the pale color of it, at the scarecrow look of its branches. Time in the timeline and time in this looking at the instance of the scientific inspection and observing under strict rules of verity.